Good morning, students. In our this class, you all are welcome, and we are going to take the topic of learning second language. Second language learning is very much different from learning of first language, that is our mother tongue. And in this process of learning second language, there are certain errors. Errors, we know the lack of knowledge of proper use of that language. There are various reasons, and we have discussed that these reasons are easily removable. So if a student, a learner is facing problems in learning second language, it is not that he does not have that ability. It is just because of some errors, because of some misconceptions which he is not aware of about the second language. And if those things are removed, then he will be able to learn that language, not only learn that second language, but use it effectively and get the right of using the language. So here we will discuss what is language, what is second language, learning, acquisition, and what are the certain problems, difficulties faced in learning second language. So first we start the discussion about language. Language is derived from the Latin word lingua. It is a kind of repetition. We have discussed these terms, language, the characteristics of language, in our initial classes. But to connect the matter from the base, we are repeating these things. Please bear with me. So language is derived from the Latin word lingua, which means the tongue, or we can say speech. Language is a system of symbols arbitrarily assigned and used for intelligible communication. The important word is arbitrarily assigned, because this thing causes some problems, some troubles in learning second language, because every language is arbitrary. It is not biologically inherited and one has to learn it. It is a set of sounds and symbols. This set is called its alphabet. It helps in speaking, writing, and thinking. A summary of language, its natures, and its functions. Sapir says language is a purely human and non-instinctive method of communicating ideas, desires, and emotions by means of a system of voluntarily produced symbols. It is clear? Bloch says it is a system of arbitrary vocal symbols by means of which a social group cooperates. So if we are learning a language, second language, obviously it is language related to another group. The language of my own group is my mother tongue, which I have learnt. If I try to learn second language, it means that I will have to learn those codes, those systems which are shared by that group. And it is not that the human brain has, though it has ability, capability of learning a language for expression, but that ability differs. It is just like a raw slate, and you can use it in whatever form, in whatever fashion you want. There is no set procedure, natural procedure, or procedure set by nature that these are the standard forms of learning any language. Every language has its own grammar, its own lexical item. So we have to learn every language except our mother tongue. We will discuss about it in this class. Chomsky calls it human essence, the distinctive qualities of mind that are unique to man. Now, Hornby defines learning as gaining knowledge or skill by study, by experience, or being taught. Learning is the skill which I get either by studying or gaining experience or being taught by somebody else. Psychologists define learning in two ways. The cognitive theory says that we learn by insight, interpretation, and solving our problems. Naturally, we develop this ability. Another approach says that we learn by trial and error in a chain of responses. We learn something, then we put it in practical use, we make some errors, and then we rectify them. And this is the process of learning. Defining acquisition, Hornby further says that it is gaining something by one's own ability, efforts, or behavior. Acquisition is the process of learning a skill and developing it as habit. Independently and naturally. So, if I learn something, it is my learning. But if I make that learning matured and enable myself to use it independently, that is my acquisition. So, when we learn the rules of grammar about a language, we are learning it. But when we get that ability to use it freely, according to the proper tenor and domain, according to the proper situation, if we get that ability, that is our acquisition of that language. So that is the difference between acquisition and learning. The mother tongue is acquired naturally, while second language is learnt consciously. There are certain difficulties in acquiring it which must be solved. So our learning and acquiring the mother tongue is a natural process. Unconsciously, even without knowing it, we get it. Though we may not be clear about the working rules of grammar, we all can use Hindi freely, independently, without any problem. But there are certain rules of grammar which we cannot explain or we don't even know. We only know the practical use of that language, but that comes to us naturally. If we want to learn English, second language, then we will have to be familiar with the rules of grammar. We will have to be in the atmosphere of that language, of English language. We will have to use it, and then we will be able to learn it. And after gaining mastery over it, we will acquire it. We did not make that much conscious efforts in learning Hindi. We all have this common experience, and it is common for everybody in case of mother tongue and second language or third language and further learning of language. A child acquires his mother tongue naturally, no problem in it, automatically and unknowingly. What is the process? How does a child learn? He listens to his family members using the language and acquires the sounds, vocabulary, grammar, and meaning of the language without any textbook or course. Even he learns the set patterns. He learns the different forms of gender. He learns the different forms of plural and singular. Though he is not able to define it, but he can shift to the correct form. When he is talking about his sister or when he is talking about his brother, he can change the form of the verb according to the gender. These things he learn automatically, and there is no need of any textbook or course. So anybody who does not attend a school, or a boy, a girl, a man who has never gone to school but he is able to speak the mother tongue, he is able to speak Hindi, he acquires it because it is essential for him to do so. Though in this process he also makes some errors, but occasionally he is corrected by his peers, and then imitating the others, he automatically starts imitating the right way. If wrong Hindi is spoken with the child continuously throughout his childhood, he will learn that wrong form. On the other hand, what is in case of a second language? A second language is learnt, not acquired. It does not come to us automatically. Learning is purposeful and artificial. For second language, we will have to do some artificial activities. So a second language is learnt deliberately and consciously. Deliberately with our own decision that I want to learn English. Consciously, we will have to make efforts about it, and we are aware of our undergoing through the process of learning. And these things are to be done in an artificial atmosphere. Artificial atmosphere, reading the textbook, design of the course for teaching English, doing the set exercises and examples. Formal teaching or study, we will have to follow a formal course. There may be some external pressure and compulsions for which we learn the second language. I can learn any language by my choice willingly, or there may be some other encouraging factors, inspiring factors for me. It may be political reason, it may be administrative reason, it may be a social reason, or it may be an educational reason to learn a second language. For my higher study, if I'm in the field of science and technology, I will have to learn English. If I want to go to European countries for my career, I will have to learn English. If I want to communicate all over India with everybody, I will have to learn English because that is the easiest way. That has become a lingua franca of our country. Or maybe because of my career in a particular business, I will have to learn English. Even because of my own desire to learn English, I will have to make conscious efforts of learning English. These things were not there when I learned mother tongue. Though there was a pressure of being a member of my community. When I learned my mother tongue, I was not aware of that thing, but automatically that thing happened and I get the knowledge of Hindi, my mother tongue. So, learning of first language in my childhood was an inevitable automatic process. But learning of a second language, it is going to be a special accomplishment. And I will have to face certain difficulties. These difficulties are common and they are faced by everybody who wants to learn second language. In our next class, we will discuss about those difficulties. Thank you, students. Thank you very much.